All right, here we are in our Forest River Sunseeker 3170 DS, the 2014 model. We're going to talk about that favorite of all things, emptying the waste tanks. We have a gray tank, which is our water from the sinks, water from the showers. Actually, that's it. And we have our black tank, which is the water from the toilet. If you've seen the movie RV, it can be a little intimidating. Not nearly that bad. The first thing you want to be aware of is how to see how full your tanks are. And so you can see we've got our little gauge up here that is multifunctional depending on which button you push, right? And so if we start at the bottom here, right, the LPG, that's our gas, our propane, right? Freshwater tank is showing full right now. Or sorry, battery. Battery is showing full right now. Freshwater tank, the label's underneath. Freshwater tank is empty. Our black tank right now is empty, and our gray tank is empty. However, you're going to want to watch these as you're camping and make sure you don't go past full. The toilet will stop working, the sinks will stop draining, and it will be a bad day indeed. All right, so we're going to go show how to empty these. Usually on your way out of the campgrounds, there will be a dumping station. If you're boondocking, you'll need to find some place like a Flying J or something like that that lets you dump tanks. And you'll need to, but the procedure will be pretty much the same no matter where you go. All right, we'll see you outside. All right, so here we are outside on the driver's side, right? And sewer outlet connection, right? That's what you're looking for. Cap must be securely in place while the vehicle's in motion at all times, really, if you don't have the hose hooked up. Otherwise, who knows what you're leaking. We'll come back to this, our sewer flusher, right? This is how we flush out the black tank, the sewage tank. And it also makes sure that our sensors are working like they're supposed to. So, for ours, we keep everything in here where we're going. So, it's interesting. The only door that has a latch to keep it open on this 3170 DS is this one. All the other ones either open downward so they don't need one, or open outward like this. There's one other one that that really should have a latch, but it doesn't. I'm going to go ahead and take this wrist, my watch off. So, in here, I'm going to go ahead and get some gear out first. All right, so we'll show you what's in here in a little bit. Probably the first thing you want to do before you start monkeying with any of this, we have some gloves. We just keep a box of gloves in here for just such an occasion. All right, some nice nitrile gloves that don't want to come out of the box. There we go. All right, so, you know, if everything goes as planned, right, you know how that goes, you don't need the gloves. But heaven forbid something goes wrong, awry, if you will, you're going to want to have had gloves on. So let's go ahead and just plan for the worst and hope for the best. All right, so there we go. Our hands are protected. All right, so gear we're going to want for dumping the tanks. As I mentioned inside, right, on your way out of the campgrounds, different RV-friendly places, Flying J's, Pilots, Loves, will have the ability to dump tanks. I like the Rhino gear. You can see, so in that plastic bag, I keep our little elbow and our water tank for clearing this thing out. So, in the 3170 DS, inside here you can see, here's our outlet, right? This lever, if you pull it, releases the gray water. Black lever releases the black tank. In order to get hooked up for draining the tanks, first thing you need to do is remove this little cap right here so you can get your hose in and hooked up. All right, so it's got some threads on it. There we go. Now, these hoses, different hoses may vary. I like to get, you can see that we have different ends here, right? So this is going to clip onto something. This one is clipped on too. Right? So I'm going to take that cap off the end there. Caps are nice because nothing ever gets washed out completely. So we're going to take a little elbow here. Elbows are nice because what you're going to find when you get to the dump station if you can hold on to things. There we go. Make sure it clips on. When you get to the dump station, there's going to be a little cap on the ground that you're going to, there'll be a foot lever. Sometimes you have to use your hand, but this is going to go into that drain, and then that lid's going to close and kind of hold it down. Do that first, right? Get it hooked up like that first. Then you want to pull your hose. As you can see, we've got extra lengths of hose here just in case you parked too far away. That'll happen. What you want to do is extend your hose out, bring it up through here. You'll note at this point I haven't taken this cap off. I have not taken this cap off, right? First thing you want to do now, or next thing you want to do, take this cap off, right? You've got the angle up, so anything that's going to drain out is draining out there. Scary part, right? Going to take this cap off. Oh, nothing there, right? Make sure these are pushed in and closed. That way, at the very worst, there may have been some in there that this was holding back this much, right? Now you're going to take this, clip it on there. Now you got a good seal there. You want to make sure you've got a nice run here where it's not going to, the pressure of the water isn't going to push things around, the pressure of the waste. Follow it all the way to where your elbow is in your drain. Make sure that's secured. This is the fun part. I'm not going to do it because I'm actually in my yard here, but tanks are empty anyway. But order here is not mandatory, but highly recommended. Dump the black tank first, right? That's your toilet, right? So you pull that lever, you let it go. Sounds kind of weird, but this clear elbow here so you can see what's coming out, very handy, right? So you can see when that tank's about done. You can also have someone inside monitoring it. Now, why do we do the black tank first? Well, that's our sewage, right? The gray tank, while not potable water, right? We're not going to be drinking or using this. It's just water and soap and whatever we've washed off in the shower, in the sinks, that may have gone down the sink drains. So when we pull that lever, it's effectively going to wash out our hose, right? It's going to wash out this thing and get it to get it free of any remaining solids. Let's put it that way. Once we have done that, once we've pulled both of those and that gray tank is done, it's down to a trickle here. Now what we want to do on this particular model is flush out that black tank, right? You can leave both valves open at this point. You're going to want to put this guy back down. Now, if you watch my other video about filling the fresh tank, just as important here. This is your sewer flusher. These are your fresh waters, right? Do not confuse these, especially now, right? When you're putting fresh water in, not such a big deal, but the water available at the dumping stations is not potable, right? It's not safe for consumption. You don't want to be putting that into your freshwater tank or into the water system. If you do, now you've got to flush those out, sanitize them. It's a big deal. Okay, so some places, some dump sites are going to have a handy hose there that's already got a thread. And you're just going to hook it right up to this. Even if I have those, I like hooking this up because 9 times out of 10, those washouts, those hoses that they give you, are on this big spring thing, and so they're constantly pulling back, and so you've got pressure on this. The last thing you want here is more pressure, right? So hook this up to whatever water you've got. If it's a spigot down here, a big hose up here, whatever it might be, make sure it's still off, and then screw it onto here. And now keep in mind, this might drip, right? The connection on here might not be completely watertight. Non-potable just means you shouldn't drink it. You're not going to, it's not going to harm you by splashing on you. You're still going to want to sanitize your hands, even if you're wearing gloves. Get all done here. You're going to want to wash your hands, or at least have some hand sanitizer available. Kind of de-germ yourself until you can get to a thing. No eating candy bars while you're doing this, right? Not a good idea. All right, so what you want to do is, once you've got it hooked up, this thing's been sitting here kind of dribbling. You're going to turn that water on. Turn it on slowly, right? Just like when you hook up a water hose at home. If you just crank the water on right away and you've got a loose connection, you end up getting sprayed. You don't want to get sprayed by this, right? So turn it on slowly and you'll hear the water going in. What you should see, and it's not going to be immediate, right? What's happening here is the water is going in, pressurizing this little system, spraying out of some little jets into your black tank, into your toilet, into the septic, the sewage tank. You'll start seeing it run out down here. You'll probably even see some toilet paper and other solids come out with that. Let it run like that for, I tend to turn it on and then go around and check things, make sure everything's going good. I like to let it run for a while, right? Nice clean tanks, make happy tanks. And that's gonna keep running out. Then you're gonna want to turn that water off and it's gonna keep running for a minute, right? Just like you had to wait for it. Well, now it's gotta run out. While that's happening, you know, once you turn that water off, it's not really pressurized. It's just, it took a while to get down there. So while you're waiting for that to finish up, unhook your hose here. Well, you've got your water turned off. Unhook your hose. Again, all my hoses, I like to hook end to end. Keeps critters and whatnot from getting in there. We keep a trash bag so that these pieces that are open, if you will, are contained. Right? Now, at this point, you should have seen it pretty much die down and stop. Thing back in there. Open up our door. Now, come in here. You're going to push your black lever closed. Make sure you close these valves before you take this off. Okay. If you don't, what's going to happen is you could very well unhook this and nothing's coming out. Maybe a little dribble. We're fine, right? Put our little cap back on here just to make sure nothing else comes out. But if you've left those open, the next time you use the system, remember when I started and I said make sure those are closed before you open it? You filled that up with gray or black water or a combination thereof. Not a good thing. All right, so, but before you unhook that, make sure that this is pretty much stopped. Don't take that out of the drain yet. Another thing to be aware of, at the pay to dump places, the Flying J's, the Pilots, the Loves, any place else, typically what it is, you pay and that lets that drain open. Once you let that drain closed, you can't open it again without paying. So do not remove this until you are all done here, right? At a dump station, at a campgrounds, it's free, right? If you do it in the wrong order, you can always put it back. So what you want to do is when you pull this out, put your cap back on it, start collapsing your hose. That's going to let any water that might have been still trapped in there start running out. All right. At one point, you bite the bullet, you take it out of there. All right. Take your elbow off, toss it on your hose there. I put the wrong cap on. I put the cap for this on the tank here, so I'm just going to switch that out real quick. And then this little guy, again, this is it's not to for any safety reason, or maybe it is, right? We just want our caps on here because we're running sewage and stuff through here, right? We don't want to smell that. All right, store that back in there. Make sure you put your lid back on, your cap back on here. Screw it in all nice and secure. Keeps critters and whatnot out of there. If you had a spill in there, you're going to want to wash that out. You're going to want to wash it down the drain. Hopefully not a lot of black tank, septic kind of stuff going on there. Your elbow, right? These don't come with anything to seal up this side, and there's nothing that seals up this side. This is why we keep it in the bag. Okay. We put our bag back in here. At this point, the family's wondering, is he all right out there? Did it go all RV and explode on him out there? I'm not going to look. You go look. And that's it. Your tanks are emptied. If you go inside and use those gauges again, you'll see that they're empty. Sometimes the sensors in these tanks aren't exactly accurate, and so you know you've emptied it. right? If you go in and it still says you've got a quarter tank or something, that's probably just a faulty sensor, a sensor that needs to be cleaned off or something. You know it's empty, you're good to go. Gloves, right? Again, didn't really get them dirty, but just like you see on all the hospital things, right? Take them out. I toss them in here, and then when I get home, throw them in the trash. Sometimes there's a trash thing right at the dump station. Throw them in there, right? You're not going to use them again. And that's it. Thank you.